A serial killer in Cleveland, Ohio has just been sentenced. Michael Madison, who murdered 3 women and was convicted for doing so, has been sentenced to the death penalty. Now, the reason why this story is making national headlines is because one of the fathers of the victims, by the name of Van Terry, lashed out at Michael Madison while he was reading a victim impact statement. Take a look.
I guess we're supposed to, in our hearts, forgive this clown who's touched our families, taken my child.
So he also got convicted of 1 count of rape. It's unclear whether he raped the man's daughter, but we do know that he murdered the man's daughter. And there were some reports that as he was reading the statement, you know, Madison was smirking at him.
It looked like in the video
was,
that he was smirking as he was being restrained.
I like the way we'd be outraged that a triple murderer would smirk.
Right, let me read you the other charges he got convicted of. He's going to get jail time for these, but he got the death penalty anyway for the murders. Kidnapping and rape, having weapons under disability, and gross abuse of a corpse.
So he put the bodies in plastic bags and stored them in closets and things like that.
So you're starting to convince me maybe we don't want to stop climate change.
Yeah, right.
From reading these stories, like, I'm like, how do you? Oh, wow.
His daughter was 18.
Yeah, his daughter was 18, Sherilda Terry, and I don't think there's a person in the country who doesn't empathize with Van Terry. And you know, it's not like they're gonna put him on trial for assault. You know.
No, there was no harm, no foul there.
And I mean, it's almost like out of a movie. And I mean, a lot of people. I mean, that was an amazing jump he had anyway.
He flew.
Right. I mean, across a very wide
glided.
table. Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were hoping he got to him, but that's not how our court system works. Rightfully so. We have a justice system, and Michael Madison will get justice. I mean, look, we disagree with the death penalty, but you can't argue that he's not going to get some degree of justice.
Yes.
Right.
I remember when I watched what's the movie Dead Man Walking, and how they were talking about filming the film, and there were certain scenes when they were so adamantly against the death penalty, and then they were doing other scenes where the murders were taking place, and they all felt while they were making the movie, you know, that they were for the death penalty right there, which is it's so crazy to think that, because that's a film about the death penalty.
Yeah,
but I think it's human nature to want that kind of retaliation, right? But you can't let your emotions get in the way of the more logical and rational thing to do.
Well, you can let your emotions get in the way. We have to have a system that prevents us from reacting to those emotions. Like
right.
We don't let the families make the call for that reason. Everybody understands why Van Terry did what he did. You know, one of the things that I've said this before on the show, one of the things that frustrates me most about, you know, is, well, you're either opposed to the death penalty or not. I was about to say vehemently, but I'm as opposed as one can be. We can't have the state killing people. I don't want to shed a moment of sympathy for Michael Madison. I mean, anything. He doesn't warrant a moment of human empathy. But he'll get some from people, and maybe, who knows, maybe in 13 years when he, you know, is facing his execution, maybe that'll be me too, feeling something that I don't want to feel for a hideous monster like that.
Yeah, it's remarkable how deeply you can think about the monstrous things that human beings do, and also I think on the other side, though, how much what we were talking about earlier, you can actually investigate, examine the great and amazing things that human beings can be, and that is, I think, always a challenge in front of us all the time. You know, I mean, and you know, something like this. I mean, you see that video and it's almost unwatchable.
Yeah, look, we cover stories like this and see videos like that on a daily basis, and like little by little, at least for me personally, it chips away in your belief that people are inherently good. And that's not a good way to think. I totally recognize that. But
Well-
even though there's all this evil happening in the world, there's a lot of good as well. So
Yeah, and that's just the reality. Like, people are constantly debating, are we good or are we evil? I got news for you, both.
Both.
The answer is both. So we've got to find a way to emphasize and highlight our better nature so that our worse nature doesn't get the best of us, right?
Right.
And so, and look, and it's what drives me to do the show in some small quest for justice by bringing out stories and talking about it and all the wrongs that are done either by people or government or corporations or whoever it might be that are in power. But that's also why I was a prosecutor briefly, just 2 summer internships, but one at the federal level and one at the state level, because I wanted to get the Michael Madisons of the world, right? And because you see Van Terry and you think, Jesus, if that was me, how devastated would I be, and how carelessly this guy did that to so many different families and took their loved ones away, right? So, you know, at a minimum, he's got many life sentences ahead of him. And so that's the good news here. They found him, they caught him, and they prosecuted him. So, you know, as much as we wanted Van Terry to get to him at that moment, that's not how justice works. And in this case, at least we had some justice. And that's not often that we get to say that in this system. So thank God
I wonder
it
if a
worked.
triple murderer and rapist like that is, I don't know, and I make no judgment on this, but whether he's safer on death row than he would be with a life sentence.
But you know something, now that I think about it, you know, this is a small case, personalized in miniature, and yet we have people who started wars on unjust information in America, who go out there and regularly smirk at the camera. People like Donald Rumsfeld, people like George Bush, who are war criminals in other countries, and Henry Kissinger, who is body count is in the millions, and as close to a genocidal maniac as we have, and yet this person just got an award from the Obama White House and is held up by a person like Hillary Clinton as a policy advisor. To me, that disqualifies her. And I'm going in this direction because you just realize that we have people smirking about murder all the day long. We have people who stand up and say, I'm proud of what I just did. I'm proud that I wreaked havoc on an entire other country. You know, he came, we came, he died moment. You know, there are these moments that escape us in politics, and we get obsessed with these in miniature. But we don't want to say, you know something, our last administration committed murders in the hundreds of thousands. We don't want to talk about that. And yet we do get up there and people gloat about it in that way.
So that's Hillary Clinton on one side, possibly. Well, on the other side, you have Donald Trump.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, who also is being advised by Henry Kissinger. Right. So you get Kissinger either way, right? And the one guy who should be the most despised is the one guy most celebrated by both sides. It's repulsive,
this
right?
is crazy.
And then Donald Trump brags about how he plans on murdering the innocent family members of people he's declared terrorists.
Well, so you see in this video this man who's smirking as a murderer, right? And then the braggadocio of the leadership position and America's new love affair with authoritarianism and fascism, which is this Trump campaign. You see this mirror. And it's truly frightening. And I think one of the things that's amazing about watching these things is it grounds you in that sense of what there is to fight for, you know, and how important it is to call it out for what it is.
Yeah. It's more striking when you see it in person and you see that's the guy who killed that guy's daughter. But when we drop bombs, people's daughters die as well. We just don't see it.
We don't see them.
Right.